So this is Gerard. Gerard was very different. This is another theme that I tend to look at is, how forceful are you versus how connected are you? So again, I look at self here. How independent are you in your thinking and your action? Feedback, how direct and straightforward? Dominant, how assertive / forceful are you? Cooperation, how helpful are you? How much do you accommodate? Consensual, how much do you seek input and use that input? And empathy, how connected are you in terms of showing care? So this is Gerard's. It's kind of to Drew's. You have to be careful because this is kind of a classic profile. Very, very forceful, very assertive. Really saw his role as being the power that made things happen. Like people really need to understand where they stand, and you need to be really assertive in your communication because leaders should be assertive, right? There was a whole mindset around the approach to leadership. He, by the way, super high biller in a professional services firm, like amongst the top billers. So he was revered for how much money he brought into the firm, moved into a leadership role, and didn't get any onboarding support or coaching in this transition. And it was only when people started to complain that people thought maybe we need to give this guy a little bit of help. So we always use open-ended questions. You can attach them to any MRG assessment. You can attach up to 10, but we don't recommend that. We tend to use usually about 3 open-ended questions. And so it's really helpful to have the open-ended questions because for example, with Gerard, you always wonder, are you in just a really forceful environment and everybody's acting like that? And so maybe it's not as big a deal because culturally it's how we engage. But in the open-ended questions, we heard no. Peers and direct reports experience this person as being quite intimidating. And therefore, they're kind of heads down and not sharing things with him because they're not sure how he'll react. To Drew's point, we've got a lot of really good research. If you haven't been in the knowledge base, please go. There's just great information. So I use the research a lot when I'm coaching. I think it helps people. There's a credibility piece if you can support them with some insights around research. So I shared the Derailer research with him because he has one of the 4 profiles. It's called My Way or the Highway. And in general is associated with people thinking that the leader is less effective. I also shared with him some research around best practices of creating strong teams because he was all about, by the way, I'm going to have the highest performing team. I'm the best team. This is how I'm going to like make my mark as a leader. Again, we had IDI on him. The IDI behavior of giving, which is being supportive and helpful, was not very high for him. And so when we explored what cooperation and empathy would look like for him, he just felt like that was a bridge too far. So he decided to start with consensual in order to make space for other people's voices and to bring people in to feel like they really had a space on the team. And we also talked about how organizational power, exaggerates the perception of some behaviors. And so having a powerful position with dominant was like way over the top. And so we worked on some strategies to modify that and in part, really giving him some ways to express himself that were clear, but not aggressive. So we worked on just kind of modifying what he was trying to accomplish with dominant and how he could use his way of communicating to get there without the added sort of aggression.